But the cocktail party did get started in Charleston, and you had cocktails starting at 6, and that meant it was kind of informal, but at that time 6 o'clock was black tie, and when something was 8 o'clock, that meant white tie, tails, white gloves, formal attire. And we had many balls. We still have balls. They had all the time, especially at Christmas time. And we still have debutantes. I was a debutante in 1946, right after the war. And that's when I attended the St. Cecilia Ball in 1947. It was the first ball they had after World War II. Balls are called off during the war. And before that, the last ball they had was 1943. And everything was called until 1946 in January. Always the third Thursday in January. But in Charleston, the men are members of all these organizations. Everything is a man's organization. So with my friend Julia Doherty, I started the Carolina Assembly in 1960. And the ladies are members, and they carry their husbands as guests. And we have it at the Hibernian Hall the day after Thanksgiving, and it's proven very, very successful. Coming out means that you're ready to enter society and looking for a husband. And it's quite a wonderful time if you've got your heart in it. It's loads and loads of fun. Some people don't bother, but a lot of people now are going back to the old trend. And they're seeing that it's a wonderful thing to do. My daughter did it, and then my granddaughter. And next November will be the 50th anniversary of the Carolina Assembly Ball, and I've got to lead the cotillion, and I'm going to have my grandson escorting me.
I did do my debut, and I was one of the few, because at our age, when it was time for us to do it, which was back, I think after your freshman year in college, because you didn't have to be 18 or 21. I mean, there wasn't any of the emphasis on the legality of drinking. That a lot of the girls were pretty much rebellious and didn't want anything to do with that. I can remember Joni Lucas, Jane Thornhill. Well, Jane may have done the assembly but didn't have a party. But Dale, none of them wanted to do it. I mean, that was just the antithesis of where they were in life. But I was all for a party. So Nancy Orvin and I had a party at the Mercury Fund, and then I did make my debut at the Carolina Assembly. I thought it was fun. You know, it didn't bother me that, I mean, they all thought it was totally outdated and, you know, establishment, etc. But the kids are still doing it. I mean, my daughter did it. There'll be plenty of them this year, and it's just, to me, it's a tradition and a fun one, but it's nothing. It has not got the meaning that it used to have, obviously. The Carolina Assembly was established for, well, as a ball to present young ladies to society, and it was started for specifically the women who had made their debuts at the St. Cecilia, but had married men who were not eligible for the St. Cecilia. So it was to go down through the women as opposed to through the men. So my mother and Jane Thornhill and a group of ladies got together and started that in the, I don't know, probably the 60s.
I did not do the debutante thing. My father gave me the opportunity to either do my debut at the school years or go to Oxford University for a summer and traveled around Europe.
I'm an FCD, former Charleston debutante.
What's that mean?
Former Charleston debutante. She coined it after our names. We should now have the initials FCD. Being a debutante in Charleston at that time was absolutely wonderful. The parties that we had were lavish. My parents, I had my debutante party with two other people, Alida Sinkler, Barnwell, and Helen Baker. Alida is still here, and Helen has moved to Cape Cod, but the three of us had our party together. And our parents were very good friends. And we had it at the Calhoun Mansion. It was the first time they allowed a debutante party there, and the last time they allowed a debutante party there. But was a beautiful time because the parties just were spectacular. The girls today, and I don't know, there are not that many that will have individual parties. I think a new thing has been formed, the cotillion, and it's for those that don't go to the St. Cecilia or the Assembly. So the cotillion was formed because the purpose of the St. Cecilia, or one of the purposes, and one of the purposes of the Assembly, is to bring out the debutantes. And because there's so many people here now that are not from Charleston, that don't have the lineage to belong to either, that the cotillion was formed. So a lot of girls will just do the cotillion. So, you know, one of the things about Charleston is tradition is still here. And those traditions still continue today, which is wonderful. The St. Cecilia is the organization that started in 1800, and it's through the male lineage. And when my aunt, Jane Thornhill, married somebody that was not a member of the St. Cecilia, she created the Assembly. And it's for them who could go to the St. Cecilia but married a non-member. So the Assembly is for the women. It's a female membership. So the cotillion is for those females that don't have the lineage to belong to either. But here's the kicker, you can go to all three. You can be a member of all three, should you choose. I was not a member of the Question Mark Club. Marjorie and Eleanor and Carmel were members. It was when we were in high school. And it's funny you asked that question because I was thinking about the Question Mark recently. Marjorie and Eleanor were in town this past week. I don't know that much about it anymore. I've sort of forgotten what the purpose was and who was invited, but no, I was not. It was very secretive.
Play on your harp a little, David, play. Play on your harp a little, David, play. Play on your harp a little, David, play. In the kingdom of my Lord. See God and He's on the mount. Steady in Christ, you're gonna rise.